Hey guys, Chi here. Just wanted to share a video called Bad Trips Explained. And the purpose of this video is to talk a bit about bad trips, or what people refer to as bad trips. And I'll just talk about some of my own experiences and my own perspective on what this is. And I'm sure the community has a lot of other things to add as well, so feel free. I just wanted to thank you guys for all the likes, shares, subscribers. It really means a lot to me to see your support and to see how the community is growing. So thank you so much for just reaching out and subscribing and liking. So today's video, I get a lot of questions about bad trips, and I get a lot of people asking me to make videos about bad trips. So I'll share a few of my own experiences in this video, and I'll share my perspective on it. So I really don't like the word trip to begin with. I think it's got a bad connotation about it. Doesn't seem very serious. It seems like it takes the whole psychedelic experience and just makes it to a thing rather than something special, a ceremony. Like it's recreation or partying, which I think there is a place, or there will be a place, for more recreational use of psychedelics. I think we're still far away from that, because I think even in a recreational setting or recreational landscape, whatever you want to call it, there still should be a proper setting and responsibility taking place on both the facilitators and the participants. So I guess we'll break it down to three types of ways to use psychedelics. One would be like a microdose, one would be in a ceremonial setting, and the third would be recreational, which is what we're exploring still. And recreation and ceremony might even be a fine line between the two in the future, because I think there's healing benefits in all three ways to use it if you do it right. So just quickly, a microdose is taking a dose that you don't feel at all, and you set some intentions, and it's supposed to work behind the surface. So working to just reconnect neural pathways, to reduce inflammation, the intelligence of the plant or the psychedelic will basically just change things in your life, what you need the most. The plants know, the psychedelics know, they're higher vibrational, and they'll start rearranging things. You set an intention, and you take a little bit each day, and you cycle it based on whatever way you choose to do it. And I'm not recommending taking psychedelics in any way, shape, or form. I'm only basing this on my own experience. So I would, do 1 day on, 2 days off. So for psilocybin, I do something like a 0.1, which I know I'm not going to feel it. Obviously, I checked first before doing any activities or leaving the house, making sure the dose was right. And I didn't feel anything, so the last thing you want is to go somewhere and start feeling a little wonky. So that's microdosing. So we're not going to talk much about that today. On the other end of the spectrum would be ceremonial use. So setting an intention, creating a space. Highly recommend having a sitter to sit with you, just to help you if you need to go to the bathroom, if you're having a difficult time. The sitter's role is not, in my opinion, to talk or to try to implant any teachings or wisdom or suggesting advice. Just to have the person who's going through the experience know that someone is there if they need help, if they want someone to talk to. And in my experience, having a sitter that's not telling, but more asking, helping to clarify, to reframe sort of experiences, to ask the right questions. Rather than saying, this is what's happening or this is what could be happening. It's always about that real, true coaching is trying to help the person allow the things to come out from within. So the right setting, having a sitter is always good. Setting the space ceremonially, creating an energetic container. I can make another video talking about that. It's always nice to have some, if you have crystals or some sage or, Palo Santo, which I know is being harvested unsustainably right now, so I don't really recommend that. But things that are local, like cedar is great to burn, or sage, just to really clear the space. If you have any crystals, like I said, or any things that are important to you, like Buddha statue or Ganesha statue, so bring that energy into space is always good for ceremony, setting a clear intention, and then going into the journey. So the word bad trip, what does that mean? So when you ask people about a bad trip, they say it's something scary, something they don't want to happen, something that really messed them up in many ways, they would say. So all you never know when a bad trip's going to happen. The way I look at it in medicine journeys, it's always giving you what you need, not what you want. So if you're doing it in a reckless fashion, there's a good chance you might have a bad experience, or the perception of a bad experience. But what I feel is that medicine is really trying to bring out of you things that no longer serve you. So in the process of going through a psychedelic experience, things are going to get brought to the surface, usually things you may have suppressed for a long time or may have forgotten completely. So, childhood traumas, things that you have done, things that people have done to you, the smallest little things like, teasing someone in high school, may have meant nothing to you, but that person, it might have really affected them. And then in an ayahuasca journey, you feel all this shame and guilt for seeing the pain you put someone else through that you were totally oblivious to. That happening for hours can be a bad trip. Seeing that for hours and not realizing what's happening, you might think this is not true, this is not me, and the medicine is trying to show you, or is trying to release this thing from being held within you. I also see psychedelics and plant medicines as some sort of a purifier. So the way I see it, we have this soul or spirit, this life force that flows through us. It's connected to all, the oneness, the universal flow, and the divine energy. And through our experiences in this life, through our ancestors, so DNA, so actual lineage, and also from our soul's journey, which can really be from many different souls coming into one. It's really hard to explain in a short video my perception of it. But your soul has, I believe, we reincarnate and comes back many, many times until we're ready to move on and leave this, fully detached from this life. And so there might have experiences that you're carrying along with you as well. And so every lifetime we get an opportunity to clear that vessel, to clear those blockages, to allow this life to flow through us and to reach our full potential. So there's always life trying to flow through us, but we just have blockages and stopping it and not allowing it to flow. So the medicine works as a purifier. So it's going to start to, or try to, remove these blockages. Now we can resist that from happening. So when a challenging experience or a bad trip happens, we want to avoid it. We don't want to. We try to, because it's uncomfortable. What I've learned is really tapping into that uncomfortableness has been huge for me to process it. Really trying to sit with what that pain is, what that uneasiness is, what that discomfort is. Because the medicine's trying to take it away from you and is trying to teach you. So a lot of times we have patterns in our life that repeat themselves over and over and over. And it'll come up in an ayahuasca ceremony, for example. And you don't want to go there. You're trying to avoid it. You're trying to stay away from it because it's uncomfortable. I want the unicorns. I want the rainbows. I want the fields of flowers. I want all that. But, what is the purpose? Why did you come into this ceremony? Was it to improve and change? Or was it to avoid, distract yourself, and escape? So a lot of times in higher doses, there'll be like a purification aspect. And I feel that once I break through that, once I've gone through that challenging aspect, it usually opens up into a very magical, beautiful experience. But the human mind and the ego, whatever you want to call it, likes to hold on to what it knows. The pain of certainty is a lot more comforting than the fear of uncertainty or the unknown. We know we're alive. The ego is trying to protect us and saying, hey, we don't know what's beyond this. So let's just stay safe in our pain right here. So I always say and experience that ayahuasca, or the medicine, la medicina, rewards courage. So if you have the courage to go into that experience and the courage to really see what's going on and to learn from your own experiences, then there's a good chance that you'll have breakthroughs. And sometimes they might not come as direct answers, but this feeling of release, this feeling of letting go, this feeling of lightness, of carrying things that we've carried our entire lives or lifetimes or generations, that we have this opportunity to let go and process and to awaken, to live, to grow. So I've had experiences where, I've been deep into medicine and start hearing noises around me, and my awareness starts going to these people and I want to help them. And I remember this one time there's a guy, and he was a big guy and so much writhing and pain and grunting and farting and moaning, and I started sending him love. And then this is really early on in my experience, and I realized that maybe I shouldn't be mingling energies in this way. Sending him all this love, and I got sucked into this vortex, and it was this crazy intense experience of pain. I was feeling all his pain, and it felt like lifetimes of trauma. And I totally dissolved into it. And slowly I started going into myself and seeing where I had that pain inside me, and generational trauma, um, from my parents, from their parents, from war. And it was so painful that I started losing myself in it. And slowly this intensity started to build, and it felt like my head was smashing through brick walls. So just like pain, confusion, nausea, and every time I'd hit a brick wall, it would get like brighter and more intense, brighter and more intense, and this kept on going on, which felt like eternity. And I remember in that exact moment saying, I'm never doing ayahuasca again. This is the last time. I've been there a few times. Because I couldn't handle it. And I felt like my mind was being broken down, because I'm very strong-minded. I'm very stubborn. And I'm very like to understand and control what's going on up here. But this was one of the experiences that has helped me to break away from that and live a life of more flow and surrender and allowing things to happen. So as it's breaking through all these walls, it's getting faster and faster and faster, to the point where I feel like I need to purge. So sometimes when you can't take it anymore, the ayahuasca will allow you to sort of purge. And the purge is a release of energy. It's a release of thoughts, a release of emotions, a release of many different things. And the way I like to see it is, when you're too caught in your head and you're thinking too much, the medicine wants you to relax so it can teach you. But it has to move all of these blockages out in these forms, and a lot of the times it's thought blockages. So I remember purging violently, and to the point where I was at the end of a purge where like you're throwing up and like nothing else is coming out. It felt like my insides were going to come out of my mouth, and it was just so painful. I felt like I was inside out, and then it just exploded. My consciousness exploded into nothingness. And I remember sitting there for a minute or two, just floating in the darkness. And I came to, or I was already there, but it was just so blissful, this peace of quiet, probably all kinds of craziness going on around me in the room, probably 30 people in the ceremony, but I couldn't hear a thing. I was floating into darkness, and slowly I start realizing that I have a body. And it was scary at first to like not know what I was, but it was like right from the source of creating myself. I have a body, and I am a person. I didn't even remember my name at this point. Slowly that all started coming back to me. And it just felt like there was this universal cosmic labor happening, where I was being born, the universe was being born, something new was happening at this time. And this was trying to communicate to me is like, yeah, continue to do the work. It's hard, but this is what labor is, what birth is all about. It's going through this process of transformation. And I remember laying there after in this most blissful, calm, clear state, and with this new sense of understanding. And I was so grateful for that experience. So it was challenging, it was painful, but it was beautiful in the end. And that's what you're sort of signing up for. You know, not every experience is like that. Sometimes I have just blissful experiences. Sometimes they're challenging. But it's an expansion of consciousness. So if you go into ayahuasca not wanting to feel pain, or darkness, or sadness, or grief, or shame, it's a part of life. And life is not all about bliss and joy. It is some about that, and some about understanding the darkness. And this combination of these different energies is what creates balance and understanding and flow. So, you know, the world right now is really chaotic. It's really stuck on one side. So we need to sort of understand it and process it to bring everything back into balance. So when people say I had a bad trip or it wasn't good, no, you're more aware of things that are within you. You're more aware of life. And, you know, when you go back into the experience, you should really surrender into that, really to feel it and to see it for what it truly is, to trust the process. So trust is a big intention for, I think many people should really focus and meditate on what trust means and how to trust the medicine. So when you resist, it makes it worse. It makes it difficult, and it's really trying to show you something that you don't want to see. So maybe you're not ready yet, but when you surrender into it and you trust, the whole thing can shift in an instant. So I hope that helps. I can make more videos about more experiences, about bad trips, and what people perceive as bad trips, but I think it's all good at the end of the day. Every experience in the medicine is good. It's teaching you, it's giving you more perspective on life. So again, I just want to thank you guys for this video, for all the support. Thank you for all the subscribers and liking and commenting. I really appreciate you guys. If you want a video, someone sent me a message to make a video about this. I'll make a video about anything. Just send me an email or a comment, and I would love to put some content out there for you. Talk to you soon. Peace.